VR dev for non-coders. My name is Marco Lawrence from Pengu Studios, and today it is game over, man. Game over. We're gonna create some stress, we're gonna make a timer, and we're gonna see if we win or we lose. Really exciting stuff, so let's get cracking. Okay, so here we are in the scene that we've been working on. Let's create a new game object and reset its transforms here. Click the cog and reset. And let's rename that into game over controller. Ominous, but necessary. So let's add an FSM. I'll move my face a little bit here. Add an FSM, and we'll call the first state listener, and right click on it, and we want to add a transition. And actually we need to go and create that transition first. We used the transition go before, so we're going to use that again, and remember it's a global transition. So let's add that transition in and create a new state, and we call it wait, and you connect the go to the wait state. Let's create a action, and we'll search for the wait action. Double click on that, and let's make this into a 30-second game, and in real time, just in case. And then we'll create another event, and we'll call this event game over local. And let's add that transition, and we'll create another state, and we'll call this game over, and we'll drag the arrow to that state. So now we wanna, in this wait state, make sure that in the wait action, our finish event is the game over local. So let's just make sure that that go fires up. So if we go into our spawn controller, and we have that listener here. So when we press the triggers, we go into the initialize state, and here we can start sending that event, go event, to different places. And so we've done that already with the start text. So let's copy that action, and then let's press the cog again and paste actions after. Very nice and handy. So then we'll just drag the game over controller, left click and drag and place it here. So now when the triggers are pressed, we will send the go event into the game over controller as well. Okay, so what happens when the game is over? So there's a couple of things that we want to do. We want to create a win or lose text. So let's work on that first. So when we go to the game over state, let's create a new event, and we'll call it game over. And let's make it global, like so. And then in that game over state, let's create some actions. Let's search for send event, and we'll change to game object, specify game object, and we want to start messing about with the start text. So let's put that here and send event game over. Okay, so let's go into the start text FSM and see what we have now. So far we have press trigger to start, and then we have that go text that we have made before. So let's do something funky now. So right click here, add state, and we'll call this for now game over. I might change my mind later on, but now right click on that and then add a global transition. And we only have a go here, just that's because we haven't created our game over event here. So let's create that. And as you can see, it's already the global event that we created before. So we just have to create it here again. So right click, add global transition, and game over. So now we have this nifty little game over transition here. So every time the game over event is sent into this FSM, it stops what it's doing and jumps here instead. So that's great. So now the game is over. So what do we want to do? We want to look at what the score was to determine whether we won or we lost. So let's get an action int compare. And the first integer is our global score int. And we want to maybe reach 10. 10 points. So let's create some events. So let's create a win event. And let's create a lose event. And let's put those transitions in place. Win. And right click, lose. All right, let's move it here. So a couple of states then. We have the yay state. And then we'll do a you suck state. So win obviously goes to yay. And lose goes to you suck. Big time state. All right, so now if the int is equal than 10, we won. If it's less than, we lose. And if it's greater than, we win. There we go. So let's just see what we do in our yay state. So we want to now affect what this text says. So let's go to the inspector and drag the text mesh component into the state field. Set property, and on the property drop down, go for the text and string. And we're going to set value, and we're going to say yay. And we're going to do the same thing here. Grab the text mesh component into the state field, set property. From the drop down, choose the string, text string, and then set value, you suck. Fantastic. Okay. So now what do we want to do after that? Let's see, let's move these a little bit over here. Good. Okay. So let's add a transition here, and we'll add that global go transition to the both of these. And let's make them move back to that go state. There. And let's move these around like this so we get some clarity. Good. Okay. So let's give it a little bit of a test, and let's tweak this a little bit. Waiting 30 seconds to see if something works is quite a long time, so let's change it to 3 for now. And let's go to the start text FSM and see what happens. Press play, and then I press the trigger, and after 3 seconds we go into the you suck, and then some craziness happens, and we need to go and do some more work. So now we want to make sure that the game stops. So let's go into the spawn controller, and let's do a similar thing. So now on the listener, we'll choose that and then right click, add a global transition, and again we forgot to create that game over event here as well, so let's make that add event game over. It's the same one we've used before, it's already ticked. So now let's go here and right click, add global transition game over. So now when we send the game over signal from here, it will go back into the listener state. So let's just see what happens. So we press play and we're waiting for the trigger press. So let's click and then 3 seconds and nothing happens. Why? Well, of course, we forgot to send that event to this FSM. So let's go back into our game over controller and that game over state. We need to send another event. Click on the cog, copy selected actions and paste actions. And we are going to send the game over event to the spawn controller. There we go. Let's just see if we get some better results this time. So we go to the spawn controller and press play. It's on the listener. We'll press the trigger. 1, 2, 3. And we're back in the listener. Great. Okay. And now, as you see, the you suck text stays. If we go to the start text, it's in the you suck state. And then if we press the trigger again, the game starts one more time. Okay. So now let's go into the game over controller. What happens once the game has been over? We want to play again, obviously. We want to be better. So let's add a transition and we'll do finished. And then from the finished, we drag that arrow to the listener. And then let's just make this visually pleasing again. Now that is just awesome. So let's just see if we can add to the stress level by adding a little bit of a timer so we can see the seconds counting down. Now that will be just crazy. So let's perhaps put the timer where we have the start text, all the instructions. So let's put it in the same place. So let's add another state here and we call it set time, perhaps. And we'll make some actions here. Let's just see. Set int value. That sounds great. We're gonna make a new int. That was a misfire click. So new variable, we'll call it timer int. Perfect. And then after that, transition finished. New state, and we'll call this state timer. And then actually let's go to the set time state into set int value and let's set it to 30 seconds. Yes. And then in the timer, we want to create this loop. So let's add another state and we'll call this 1 second, minus 1 second maybe. There we go. And in the timer, let's create a action, wait action here again. And 1 second sounds good. Let's create an event that's called waited. And then right click, add transition, waited. From the waited transition, let's go to the 1 second state. And let's make sure that we do actually the finish event waited here. So now we're at the 1 second state. So what do we want to do there? We want to deduct that 1 second from our timer int. So let's find that int add action. And the variable we're going to use is the timer int. And we're going to add -1. And then what we're going to do with this is we are going to change it into a string. Int string, convert into string. So the int we're going to change is the timer int, and the string variable we're going to use is a new one called timer string. All right, let's drag it to the bottom of the stack. And then we want to show that timer result in the actual text. So let's go to the inspector, drag the text mesh into the stack, set property. We choose the text string, and the value we're going to use is the timer string value. Okay. And then once that is done, we add a transition, finished, and we go back into the timer. Now let's make it visually pleasing again. Fantastic. All right, so let's just see. We want to go from the go action now into the set time state. So we're going to add a transition, finished, into the set time. All right. So let's just see what we've done wrong. So let's press play, see where we end up. Okay. And we're going to press that trigger. And there we go. Our timer was ticking. We can't see it really well now. So let's go and change our game over controller wait time to 30 seconds. So we have a little bit more time to marvel at the beauty of what we've accomplished. So let's go back to the start text, FSM, and make this a little bigger so we see it. So press trigger to start. Pressing it, we're gonna go, and then we have this counter here. Relentlessly counting down the time to our doom. Amazing. Okay. Well, let's just see if the game over happens at the right place. You suck. Perfect. Okay. So now, if we would press the trigger again, everything is as it should, apart from the score here. So the score where we finished is still in memory. So let's work on that now. The countdown timer works as it should, so that's great. So let's work on that score. So score controller. Now let's just see what we want to happen. So we want the score to be reset to 0 when we play again. So let's create a new state, add state, and we'll call it the game over state. And let's right click on that, add global transition, and we still haven't created it. I forget it every time. So let's make it game over again. And it is the same one with the global transition ticked. So add a global transition, game over. Okay. And then let's make sure that we send this event here as well. So we go to the game over controller and we'll click on the cog, copy actions, and then click on it again and paste actions after. We'll send the game over event to the score controller. There we go. And let's go to the score controller. And now we should be here when the game is over. So what we wanted to happen is the score to be reset. So let's create the action here. Int set and set int value. Let's do that. And what we want to affect now is the score int global, and we set it in back to 0. But maybe we want to look at the score a little while when the game is over, so we don't lose the result directly. So let's add a little bit of a step here. So let's add a state, and we'll call this score reset. And let's go to the game over state and choose the set int value. Control X to cut. And then click on the state field and Control V to paste. Okay. So now when the game is over, we're going to wait there for a little bit, and we're going to wait for the go event. And then we're going to reset the score, and then we're going to flow back into the score counter here. So let's add the event go into this FSM. There it is. And then let's add that transition. And then make that transition flow into score reset. And when the score is reset, we're going to add another transition finished back to the score. Okay, let's just see how this would work. So we need to send that go event, and we're going to send it from the spawn controller, initialize action, and let's click on the cog, copy selected actions, and then click on it again, paste actions after, and then we want to send that event to the score controller. There we go. Okay, so let's just see what mistakes we've done now. So we'll press play. There we go. We wanted to look at the score controller, and we're going, and the score is going down. And I'm going to pause this video for a little bit so we don't have to wait for 30 seconds for this to happen. Okay, 3, 2, 1. There we go. Then if we press the trigger again, the score is reset and we can play again. All right. So there's one more problem here, and that is that ghost cube that stuck around. So let's try and get rid of that as well. So we'll do that in the spawn controller. So we want to destroy the object, the cube. So let's put it into the listener state. See if that would be good. So let's just see. Let's search for destroy object. Let's add it here, and we'll use the spawned game object, and we'll destroy that. So then we should get rid of that. Let's test if this works. So press play. I'll fast forward to the end of 30 seconds again. Okay, so as you see, we don't have any ghost cubes left. So let's make this a little bit more visually pleasing. So let's change where our text is. So let's go for the score controller. No, the start text. Let's rotate that a little bit. So press E on the keyboard and let's turn it around like this. So then rotation, let's do 90. Good, good, good. And then let's whack it on top of the score here, so we are sufficiently stressed constantly with the score. And then let's put the alignments, the anchor actually, middle center, and shuffle it again a little bit. So now if we press play, that go is aligned nicely. Let's do the same thing with the score and do the alignment on middle center. And that jumped into some crazy place, so let's put it here again and press play. Now it's a little bit too low, so let's move the score a little bit higher, like so. And that should be okay. And we press the triggers to start. Let's see how it looks like. Great. Okay, so now it's time to test it in VR. I'm scared. Let's give it a shot. Okay. Press trigger to start. Right. Let's do this thing. Okay. 0, 1, 2, 4, 5. Okay, we're rolling. Oh, can I keep it? 5, 4, 5, 6. Stress levels are high. 7, 8, 9, 10. Can I keep it? Oh no. 10. And oh my goodness. Yay! 14 points. That is just amazing. Okay, again. Okay, here we go. Good. And everything is working as it should. This is wonderful. And so on. Beautiful stuff. So peeps, congratulations. That is the prototype done. Now it's time to start juicing it up a little bit, but we'll get to that. While we're waiting for those steps, go and check out our Patreon page, and if that's not ready yet, then that will direct you to our webpage. Join the mailing list and you'll get all the updates to keep being excited about VR. So see you later. Bye. Fix that hair. VR hair. Okay.